Now we turn to the chairwoman of the Indo-Pacific Subcommittee, Young Kim of California, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman, and I want to thank the witnesses for staying late to answer all of our questions. I recently came back from a CODEL to Taiwan, and in all of our engagements, there was a constant theme of the Chinese Communist Party ramping up pressure on Taiwan's bilateral partners throughout the region and throughout the world into switching their diplomatic recognition to the CCP. As you know, when President Tsai started her term 5 years ago, Taiwan had 22 partners. As President Lai is starting his new term, he's working with only 12 partners around the world in the region. So since 2017, 5 countries in Latin America have cut diplomatic ties with Taiwan and established official diplomatic relations with the CCP. So can you talk about some of those CCP pressure tactics in the region? What are you seeing? Mr. Camilleri, you want to start?
Sure. I think we saw an example of this just in the last few days with some Guatemalan exports being rejected from the PRC. So clearly economic coercion is one of the forms of pressure that's being brought on countries that are committed to continuing to recognize Taiwan. I had the opportunity to accompany Secretary Blinken recently to Guatemala for a really productive bilateral conversation with President Arevalo and his team. And President Arevalo conveyed his commitment, his government's commitment to maintain the recognition of Taiwan. But I think we see very, very clearly and very transparently the kind of pressure that's being brought against such governments. We have, I think, some tools that we can bring to bear on this in terms of helping our partners.
What are some of the tools that you're talking about?
Pardon me?
What are some of the tools?
So I think just to name a couple, certainly in the procurement space where we've seen PRC very focused on major infrastructure, for example, often using corruption, often not respecting local environmental and labor standards, oftentimes with pretty shoddy results in terms of the infrastructure that's built. Bringing awareness to what that track record looks like, building international standards into procurement processes. We've done this very successfully in the Dominican Republic, for example, in the Port of Manzanillo, by working with the Army Corps of Engineers to build those international standards into procurement processes so that U.S. consortia were able to win contracts where PRC companies had been well-placed to do so. That's one of the ways in which we can build up both awareness and provide alternatives to countries that want to partner with us as the preferred partner, but we need to put those alternative options on the table for them.
Our words needs to follow with our actions too, so thank you for that. I also want to ask about the CCP, which is making large-scale investments in cultural programming throughout the hemispheres. For example, there are over 40 CCP Confucius Institutes throughout Latin America. And CCP and Latin American universities are participating in joint research and exchange programs. So can you talk about USAID's work and programming to counter such soft power influence in the region?
Sure. Look, I think broadly speaking, our affirmative development model is our competitive advantage in the region. We are not saddling countries with debt. We are not looking to bring in our own workers. We are genuinely partnering in a transparent, rules-based manner, looking to move them ultimately from aid to trade. We want our partners to prosper. We don't want them to be beholden to us and saddled with predatory lending.
Let me ask one question to Assistant Secretary Robinson, because we know that CCP plays a major role in the global fentanyl supply chain, and Chinese brokers intentionally sell precursor chemicals to Mexican cartels who then produce and smuggle fentanyl into the United States. So can you talk about how State Department is engaging our allies and partners in the region to ensure they take CCP drug trafficking very seriously?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question.
And also, maybe you can talk about the so-called the fentanyl working group that U.S. and China established late last year in November.
Absolutely. I will be very quick. I've had 4 opportunities to speak directly with my PRC counterparts, twice in Beijing, once in Vienna. The Global Coalition Against Synthetic Drugs is our broader effort to engage with countries around the world on this issue. Over 150 countries, over 15 international organizations involved.
Gentlewoman's time has expired. Please, if you'd like to finish your answer in writing, that would be helpful to the gentlewoman from California.